how does it connect? Where does it weave in to Justice League and the movies that came before it?
Yeah.
Knowing what happened on Justice League, did you even go back and take a look at the theatrical cut to see how Gal was handled in that to make this match at all? Or do you really just think it's in universe with yours?
The Justice League?
The one that hit theaters.
No, I think that all of us DC directors tossed that out just as much as the fans did. But also I felt that version contradicted my first movie in many ways, and this current movie, which I was already in production on. So then what are you going to do? I was like, you would have to play ball in both directions in order for that to work. So the only thing I've done and tried to always do is when I knew when Zack was doing Justice League, sort of where she ends up. And so I always tried, like, I didn't change her suit because I never want to contradict. I don't want to contradict his films, Sure. But yet I have to have my own films, and he's been very supportive of that. And so I think that that Justice League was kind of an outlier, because I don't know, they were trying to turn one thing into kind of another. Then it becomes like, I don't recognize half these characters. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, it must have been strange to see a character who you helped envision and bring to life. Well, I don't know if you even saw it, but it was unusual.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
Where exactly or when exactly does this take place in the DC universe?
I think I'm coming straight from Justice League.
Like, are we talking day after, week after?
Yeah, because in Zack's cut, we had it where I was with Volko and Mara, and I say that I have to go home, and they say there's this force coming that I need to help. And I'm like, I'm going home to see my dad, and so I get in the back of a pickup truck and pound a bottle of something, and off he goes, the Wanderer, you know what I mean? So that was kind of like the end of Justice League, where I was going.
Jason Momoa is now publicly supporting his Justice League co-star Ray Fisher in his ongoing battle with Warner Brothers. Back in July, Ray called out director who was brought in to finish the movie when Zack Snyder had to bow out.
Yeah, so Ray tweeted in July, Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. And in August, he added, during the LA reshoots for Justice League, Jeff Johns summoned me to his office to belittle and admonish my and my agent's attempts to take grievances up the proper chain of command. And then he made a thinly veiled threat to my career. This behavior cannot continue.
Yeah, now after several meetings with Warner Brothers, they have agreed to do an investigation, but Ray is now claiming that Warner execs are threatening him and trying to make him let some people off the hook, which Ray has refused to do.
Yeah, so Jason Momoa posted on his Instagram last night, this stuff has to stop and needs to be looked at. Ray Fisher and anyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of Warner Brothers needs proper investigation. I just think it's effed up that people released a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to try to distract from Ray Fisher speaking up about the way we were treated on Justice League's reshoots. Serious stuff went down. It needs to be investigated, and people need to be held accountable. Hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher.
Yeah, and here is what Ray told a JusticeCon panel back in July.
Obviously, I put out some pretty strong words and some pretty strong comments about Joss Whedon, and every single one of those words, every single one of those comments is true. The man is probably scared, and he should be, because we are going to get to the heart of everything that went down. And for me, for my part, do what you want to me. Fine, I'm cool with that. But I guarantee you this, we're going to get to the heart of everything. And if anything I said about that man is untrue, I invite him wholeheartedly to sue me for libel, to sue me for slander. Anything.
Ben Affleck has been in support of releasing director Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League after the hashtag went viral. But in a sit-down with GQ, Ben admits the shoot for the film wasn't the greatest.
I had a better time on Batman vs. Superman, which I really enjoyed doing. And Justice League was unfortunately touched by, some personal tragedy and death in Zack's family, and it just, like I say, sometimes things sort of work and gel, and sometimes they just, you seem to be just having one problem after another, I really loved Batman vs. Superman, and Chris wrote on it, and I really love Zack, and I loved putting on the costume, and the idea of doing the digital alteration to the voice was really interesting to me, and I had a good time. I loved Detroit. It was a really fun city, really cool place. You know, my kids came out and visited me and saw me in the bat suit, and they let me borrow the suit for my son's birthday, and so that was a lot of fun. And I do have some really fond memories, particularly of Batman versus Superman, and how exciting that was, and how energizing it was, and how much fun we had.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when he was talking about like not doing his own individual Batman. Yeah, so I get his approach to one, like, it just wasn't fun for me anymore. There was too much to take on to keep on with this role. And I see why also, Justice League just didn't work.
You know, like he was speaking to like the things that were going on behind the scenes, right. You know. It's a miracle often when a movie comes together at all, let alone when it comes together under circumstances like that. Like, say what you will about Justice League, I don't think it's that good a movie. I don't like it all that much. But it seemed like it was a very difficult one to put together.
Right.
I would have liked to have seen his movie. I would have liked to have seen, not Zack Snyder's Justice League cut.
Right.
I mean Ben Affleck's Batman.
Right.
I thought he was going to do that more, and things just kind of fell apart. And again, like he just wasn't into it after a while. So it's interesting. The fans love it though. Like the fans are all about like, I want to see this Snyder cut. They believe it exists. There's a world in their fandom that this movie is completely different, and the Zack Snyder cut of the film should be the real one.
Right.
Right.
It's funny, like.
Now to our GMA cover story, Gal Gadot is holding her ground this morning after Hollywood director Joss Whedon denied allegations that he mistreated her on the Justice League film set back in 2017. Whedon spoke out in a New York Magazine interview. Zareen Shah has the details. Good morning, Zareen.
Hey, good morning, George. The actress who played Wonder Woman is in a war of words with one of Hollywood's biggest directors. She said he threatened her job. He responded saying English is not her first language, leaving it up to fans to interpret what happened.
I belong to no one.
This morning, Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot standing up for herself. In a new article for New York Magazine, the famed director of hits like The Avengers and the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Joss Whedon, now on defense that he threatened Gadot's career while filming the 2017 film Justice League. Gadot telling the Israeli news outlet N12 last year, quote, I had my issues with Joss and I handled it. He threatened my career and said that if I do something, he will make sure my career is miserable.
When these stories start to come out, it makes people feel that they've been betrayed. And, you know, he's, of course, responsible for his behavior.
Now, more than 8 months later, Whedon speaking out for the first time about Gadot's allegations, telling New York Magazine, I don't threaten people. Who does that? English is not her first language, and I tend to be annoyingly flowery in my speech. Adding that he was joking with Gadot in response to her wanting to cut a scene from the movie, saying that she would have to tie him to a railroad track and do it over his dead body. Gadot telling the magazine in an email, I understood perfectly. Whedon, famed for working on projects with strong female characters, also answering to accusations of misogyny and abusive behavior.
It began really when his ex-wife came forward and, you know, called him a hypocrite preaching feminist ideals. There are, I think, clearly patterns that emerge when you look at the stories side by side.
Whedon admitting to the magazine he slept with employees, fans, and colleagues while working on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which eventually led to his marriage ending. Whedon now telling the magazine's reporter Lila Shapiro that he's been in therapy for years and even checked into an addiction treatment center for a month.
So I think it's like it opens up a space about, you know, how power plays out in these spaces and how it can make people feel. And ultimately, like, how damaging it is for these directors to be worshipped. You know, it's not good for them and it's not good for anyone around them.
Both camps declined to comment, but Shapiro says she spoke to Whedon and people who worked for him for months. And while a clear pattern emerged, it is a complicated story, and that entire article is worth a read. Guys.
Okay, Zareen, thanks very much.